There's a moment in every person's life when they feel a crack deep in their soul. It doesn't come from a stranger on the street, a bad day at work, or even the inevitable losses we all face. No, this crack comes from someone you trusted, someone you opened your heart to completely, someone you thought would never willingly hurt you. It isn't just pain, it's betrayal. Maybe you felt it. Maybe you've been there. Perhaps it was the partner who promised you the world, only to pull the rug out from under your feet. Perhaps it was the person who looked you in the eyes and said the words, "I love you," while their actions whispered something entirely different. And when that moment comes, when you realize the person you thought you could share your life with has done something so unthinkable, it changes you. It makes you question everything, who you are, what you're worth, whether you can trust again. And then, after the tears, after the night spent staring at the ceiling, after the anger has burned itself out, they come back. They ask for another chance. They tell you they've changed, that they're sorry, that they'll never do it again. And here you are, standing at the crossroads. Do you open the door to them again? Do you let them back in knowing full well what they've done, or do you close the door forever and choose yourself? Now, before we go further, I need you to hear this, but forgiveness is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It can heal wounds you thought would never close. It can set you free from the chains of bitterness and resentment. But forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself. Reconciliation, that's something that must be earned. And there are some actions, some betrayals, so profound that they should not be given another chance. Have you ever thought about the weight of trust? Trust isn't just a word we throw around casually. It's a sacred bond, a foundation upon which every true relationship is built. Trust says, "I see you, I believe in you, I'm placing my heart in your hands." And when someone betrays that trust, when they shatter it, it's not just a mistake, it's a choice. A choice to disregard your feelings, your safety, your dignity. Let me ask you something. Why do we hesitate to walk away from someone who has hurt us so deeply? Why do we find ourselves justifying their actions, making excuses, convincing ourselves that maybe, just maybe, they'll be different this time? Is it fear? Fear of being alone? Fear of starting over? Fear of admitting that the person we loved isn't who we thought they were? Or is it hope? Hope that people can change, that love can conquer all, that redemption is always possible. I want to tell you a story. Not about me, not about anyone in particular, but about all of us. It's the story of a man who loved with all his heart. He gave everything he had to a partner who promised him the same. For years, he believed they were building something beautiful together. But one day, he discovered that his partner had been unfaithful. Not once, but many times. And when he confronted them, they didn't deny it. They didn't seem to care. Yet, when he walked out the door, they begged him to come back. They swore they would change, that it would never happen again. He wanted to believe them. He wanted to hold on to the life they had built together. But deep down, he knew the truth. He knew that if he went back, he would never be able to trust them again. He would spend every day wondering where they were, who they were with, what they were doing. He would live in a prison of doubt and suspicion, his heart chained to the very person who had broken it. And so with tears streaming down his face, he made the hardest decision of his life. He chose himself. He chose to walk away, to close the door, to say no more. And in doing so, he discovered something extraordinary, the strength he thought he had lost, the love he thought was gone. On the future he thought had been stolen. Now I know what you're thinking. That's easier said than done. And you're right. Walking away is never easy. It's painful, it's messy, it's terrifying, but it's also because when you allow someone back into your life after they've betrayed you, you're not just giving them another chance. You're giving them permission to hurt you again. You're telling them what you did was okay. I'll accept less than I deserve. And you deserve so much more. Let's talk about what betrayal really does to the soul. It's not just a breaking of trust. It's a breaking of self. It makes you question your worth, your judgment, your ability to love and be loved and be loved. It plants seeds of doubt that grow like weeds, choking out your confidence and your joy. And when you let the person who betrayed you back into your life, those weeds don't just remain, they multiply. They take root. They become your reality. But here's defined by their betrayal. You are not defined by their choices. You are defined by how you choose to rise from the ashes. And rising means setting boundaries. It means saying, I will not allow your actions to dictate my happiness. I will not let your choices determine my future. Think about the people who truly love you. The ones who cherish you, who respect you, who see you for who you are and celebrate it. Would they ever do something to hurt you so deeply? Would they ever make a choice that would shatter your trust? Love is not just a feeling. It's an action. It's a commitment. And when someone betrays you, they are showing you through their actions. I know this is hard to hear. I know it hurts. But sometimes the greatest act of love you can give yourself is to walk away, to say, I deserve better, to close the door on someone who doesn't value you and open the door to a future that does. Because that future is waiting for you. It's calling to you. But you can't step into it while you're still holding on to the past. What else I'll say you are holding on to? What are you afraid of letting go? And what would happen if you chose right now to release it? To say, I forgive you, but I will not reconcile with you. I love myself too much to allow this into my life again. You see, life is about choices. Every moment, every decision shapes the person you're becoming. And when you choose to stay with someone who has betrayed you, you're choosing to stay in a place of pain and doubt. But when you choose to walk away, you're choosing growth. You're choosing healing. You're choosing freedom. And isn't that what we all want? To be free? To live a life that is full of love and joy and trust? That life is waiting for you. But you have to choose it. You have to take the first step even when it feels impossible. Because on the other side of that step is something beautiful, something extraordinary, something you deserve. What does it mean to give someone a second chance? Think about it for a moment. When you open that door again after they've betrayed you, after they've broken your trust, what are you really doing? Are you giving them the opportunity to prove they've changed? Or are you giving them the power to hurt you again? Are you holding on to hope? Or are you holding on to fear? Fear of being alone? Fear of starting over? Fear of the unknown? Here's the truth, one that might be hard to swallow. Sometimes giving someone a second chance isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment. It's a way of telling yourself that their needs, their desires, their potential for change are more important than your peace, your dignity, your well-being. And when you do that, when you put their comfort above your own, you're teaching them something dangerous. You're teaching them that the broken pieces of your trust don't need to be handled with care. You're teaching them that they can shatter you and still be welcomed back into your life. Let's pause here for a moment. Not to reflect on them, but to reflect on you. Have you ever wondered why we're so quick to forgive the people who hurt us the most? Why we allow those we love to cross boundaries we wouldn't accept from others? Why, even after they've betrayed us, we find ourselves justifying their actions, convincing ourselves that maybe it wasn't as bad as it seemed. What is it in us that does this? Is it because we believe love is infinite, that it can endure anything? Is it because we've been taught to forgive, to turn the other cheek, to see the good in people even when they've done us wrong? Or is it something deeper, something more vulnerable? Is it because we fear that if we let them go, we'll never find love like that again? That maybe this is all we deserve? I want to tell you something, and I want you to let it sink in. Deep into your heart, into the part of you that's been hurting, you are not unworthy of love. You are not broken because someone broke your trust. You are not less because someone failed to see your value. Their betrayal does not define your worth. It defines them. And the moment you start to believe that you deserve more, the moment you choose yourself over their empty promises, that's the moment you begin to. But healing isn't easy, is it? It demands from you something most people aren't willing to give. The courage to let go. And letting go feels like the most unnatural thing in the world when all you want is to hold on. Hold on to the memories, to the moments of happiness, to the hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll become the person you thought they were. But here's the thing, holding on to the past is like gripping a rope that's burning your hands. The tighter you hold, the more it hurts. And the only way to stop the pain is to let go. What do you ask you this? What are you holding on to? Is it the version of them you created in your mind, the person you wanted them to be? Is it the life you thought you'd have with them, the dreams you built together? Is it the fear that walking away means failure, that it means giving up? Or is it simply the fear of the unknown, the question of what comes next? Whatever it is, I want you to know this. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you realize. And you are capable of building a life so full of love, so full of joy, that it will make you wonder why you ever settled for less. But that life requires something of you. It requires you to choose yourself, to say, I deserve more than this. I deserve a love that is honest, that is kind, that is unwavering, and I will not settle for anything less. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but people can change. They can learn from their mistakes. They can grow, and you're right. People can change. They can grow. They can become better. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you want to be the proving ground for their growth? Do you want to be the one who pays the price for their lessons? Do you want to put your heart on the line, knowing full well that their change is not guaranteed? It's not something you can force. It's not something you can will into existence. Change comes from within. It comes from a deep, burning desire to be better, to do better, to live better. And if they've truly changed, if they've truly grown, they don't need a second chance to prove it. Their actions will speak for themselves. Their transformation will be evident in the way they live, in the way they treat others, in the way they carry themselves. And if they haven't changed, if their promises are just words spoken in desperation, then giving them a second chance won't fix anything. It will only give them another opportunity to hurt you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a moment and think about what you truly deserve. Not what you've been told you deserve, not what you've settled for in the past, but what you know in your heart you are worthy of. Think about the kind of love you want, the kind of life you want, the kind of peace you want. And then ask yourself, does this person, the one who betrayed you, the one who broke your trust, fit into that vision? Do they align with the future you want to create? Or are they holding you back, keeping you stuck in a cycle of pain and doubt? You see, life is too short to spend it waiting for someone to become what you need them to be. It's too precious to waste it on people who don't value you, who don't see your worth, who don't treat your heart with the care it deserves. And when you let go of those people, when you make the choice to walk away, you create space for something better. You create space for the kind of love that lifts you up, that inspires you, that makes you feel truly seen and valued. But that space can only be created when you let go of what no longer serves you. And letting go isn't just about walking away physically. It's about releasing the hold they have on your heart, on your mind, on your spirit. It's about forgiving, not for them, but for you. Forgiving so you can be free. Forgiving so you can move forward. Forgiving so you can heal. And when you do that, when you let go of the pain, the anger, the betrayal, something incredible happens. You begin to see yourself in a new light. You begin to rediscover the strength you thought you had lost. You begin to realize that you're whole, that you are worthy, that you are enough. And in that realization, you find the courage to build a life that reflects the love and respect you deserve. So let me ask you, gang, what are you holding on to? And what would happen if you let it go? Let's talk about that little voice inside of you. You know the one I mean. The one that whispers late at night when the world has gone quiet. The one that says you deserve more than this. The one that questions why you're holding on. Why you're letting them back in. Why you keep forgiving someone who's made it clear they don't value you the way you deserve to be valued. That voice is not your enemy. It's not there to make you feel guilty or confused. It's there because it's trying to wake you up. It's the voice of your intuition, your inner knowing, the part of you that sees the truth even when your heart doesn't want to. And too often, we silence that voice. We drown it out with excuses, with justifications, with hope. But hope without action is just a way of delaying the inevitable. Think about it. How many times have you ignored that voice? How many times have you told yourself they didn't mean it? Or it won't happen again? Or I can't just walk away from everything we built together? And how many times after giving them another chance have you found yourself back in the same place? Hurt, betrayed, questioning your own worth. The truth is people show us who they are through their actions. Not their words, not their promises, not their apologies, their actions. And if someone has shown you through their actions that they don't respect your boundaries, that they don't value your trust, that they don't prioritize your well-being, then their words mean nothing. A heartfelt apology doesn't erase betrayal. A promise to change doesn't restore trust. And letting them back into your life doesn't fix the damage they've done. But here's the part that's hardest to face. Sometimes the reason we keep giving them chances isn't about them at all. It's about us. It's about the stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we hold about what love is supposed to be. Somewhere along the way, we've absorbed the idea that love means sacrifice. That love means enduring pain, forgiving endlessly, and holding on no matter how much it hurts. But let me ask you something. Where did that idea come from? Did it come from a place of truth, of wisdom, of self-love? Or did it come from fear? Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of not being enough? I need you to hear this, and I need you to hear it deeply. Love is not supposed to hurt like this. Love is not supposed to make you feel small or unworthy or afraid. Love is not supposed to be something you have to beg for or chase after or prove you deserve. Real love, the kind of love you are worthy of, is steady. It is kind, it lifts you up, it protects you, and most importantly, it respects you. Has the person who betrayed you shown you that kind of love? Have they shown you through their actions that they are capable of the respect, the care, the commitment that true love requires? Or have they shown you the opposite? Have they shown you that their needs come first, that their desires outweigh your boundaries, that their comfort is more important than your peace? If the answer is no, if they have not shown you the love you deserve, then why are you considering giving them another chance? Why are you questioning your worth, your boundaries, your intuition? Why are you allowing someone who has hurt you to continue having power over your life? I know the answers aren't simple. I know the heart doesn't let go as easily as the mind tells it to. But I also know this. Your heart is capable of healing. Your heart is capable of finding love again. Your heart is capable of letting go of what no longer serves it so that it can make room for something better. And that process, as difficult as it may be, begins with a single decision: to choose yourself. What does it mean to choose yourself? It means honoring your boundaries even when it's hard. It means listening to that voice inside you even when it tells you something you don't want to hear. It means recognizing that your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. It means believing with every fiber of your being that you deserve a life filled with love, respect, and peace, and refusing to settle for anything less. Choosing yourself isn't always easy. It means walking away from someone you may still love. It means letting go of the dreams you had for your future together. It means facing the uncertainty of what comes next. And all of that can feel overwhelming, even impossible. But here's the thing. Staying in a relationship where you are not valued, where your trust has been broken, where your boundaries have been disrespected, is not easier. It's just a different kind of hard. And that kind of hard chips away at you slowly but surely, until one day you wake up and realize you've lost yourself. But you don't have to lose yourself. You don't have to stay stuck in a cycle of betrayal and pain. You have the power to break free. You have the power to choose a different path. You have the power to say, I deserve more than this, and I will not settle for less. And when you make that choice, when you truly choose yourself, you will begin to see life in a new way. You will begin to realize that the love you were holding on to was not the love you needed. You will begin to discover a strength within you that you didn't know you had. And you will begin to create a life that reflects the love and respect you deserve. But that life requires courage. It requires faith. It requires you to trust that even though the path ahead may be uncertain, it is leading you to something greater, and I promise you it is. Because when you let go of what no longer serves you, you create space for something better. When you release the pain and the betrayal, you make room for healing and joy. And when you choose yourself, you open the door to a life filled with love, not just from others, but from yourself. So let me ask you ready to choose yourself? Are you ready to let go of the pain, the betrayal, the fear? Are you ready to step into the life you deserve? Because that life is waiting for you. It's calling to you. And all you have to do is take the first step. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is a powerful force, isn't it? It whispers in your ear when you're lying awake at night. It tells you that leaving will only make things worse. It convinces you that no one else will love you the way they did, that you might never find someone else, that you're safer staying where you are. even if it means staying in the pain you know. Fear doesn't always shout. It doesn't always make itself obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, like a shadow that follows you wherever you go, shaping your decisions without you even realizing it. It's a liar. It wants you to stay small. It wants you to stay stuck. And most importantly, it wants you to stay safe, even if safe means miserable. Fear doesn't care about your happiness. It doesn't care about your growth. It doesn't care about your potential. Fear's only goal is to keep you where you are, because the unknown, the future, is something it can't control. And so it whispers, stay. Stay where it's familiar. Stay where it's predictable. Stay where at least you know what to expect. Is staying in a relationship where you've been betrayed really safe? Does it feel safe to constantly question their loyalty? Does it feel safe to wonder if their promises mean anything? Does it feel safe to carry the weight of their choices on your shoulders, pretending everything is fine when deep down you know it's not? Or is staying just another way of avoiding the fear of starting over? Starting over. Those words can feel so heavy, can't they? They carry the weight of uncertainty, of loneliness, of having to rebuild what you thought would last forever. But starting over isn't the end of something. It's the beginning. It's the chance to create a life that is truer to who you are, to find a love that honors you, to rediscover the parts of yourself that you may have lost along the way. And yes, it's scary. But do you know what's scarier? Staying in a relationship that diminishes you. Staying in a relationship where you can't trust the person who's supposed to protect your heart. Let's go deeper. What does betrayal do to a person? It doesn't just hurt you in the moment. It leaves scars that linger long after the apology, long after the promises to change, long after the tears have dried. It makes you second-guess yourself. It makes you question your own worth. It makes you wonder if you're to blame, if you could have done something differently, if you weren't enough. Now you tell you are not to blame for someone else's betrayal. Their choices are not a reflection of your worth. Their actions are not a verdict on who you are. What they did is about them, their weaknesses, their insecurities, their inability to honor the trust you gave. It is not about you. But when you stay with someone who has betrayed you, when you give them another chance without holding them accountable for their actions, you start to internalize their choices. You start to believe that maybe this is all you deserve. And that belief is the real betrayal. Not their betrayal of you, but your betrayal of yourself. So how do you stop betraying yourself? How do you break the cycle? It starts with a question, a simple yet profound question. What do I want my life to look like? Not, what do I want this relationship to look like? Not, what do I want them to do to fix things? But, what do I want my life to look like? Do you want a life filled with doubt? With fear? With constantly wondering if they're being honest with you? Or do you want a life filled with peace, with joy, with the kind of love that makes you feel safe and valued? Do you want to spend your days trying to piece together a broken relationship? Or do you want to spend them building something new, something beautiful, something that reflects the best of who you are? And here's the hard truth. Sometimes the life you want requires you to leave the life you have. Sometimes the love you deserve requires you to walk away from the love you've known. And sometimes choosing yourself means saying goodbye to someone you thought you'd never let go of. But here's the beautiful thing about letting go. It's not an ending. It's a beginning. It's a beginning. It's the moment you take back your power. It's the moment you stop living for someone else and start living for yourself. It's the moment you say, I am worthy of more than this, and I refuse to settle for less. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's not that simple. And you're right. Walking away is never simple. It's messy. It's painful. It's filled with doubts and questions and moments where you wonder if you made the right choice. But simplicity isn't the goal. Freedom is. And freedom comes when you release the things that are holding you back, the things that are weighing you down, the things that are keeping you from becoming the person you were meant to be. What's holding you back? What are you afraid of letting go of? Is it the memories of the good times? Is it the hope that they'll change? Is it the fear of being alone? Or is it the belief that maybe you're not strong enough to do this on your own? You're stronger than you think. You're braver than you realize. And you are more capable than you've been led to believe. The fact that you're even considering walking away, the fact that you're even questioning whether this relationship is right for you, is proof of your strength. Because it takes courage to face the truth. It takes courage to admit that something isn't working. And it takes courage to choose yourself. Doesn't mean you're not afraid. It doesn't mean you don't have doubts or fears or moments of weakness. Courage means feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Courage means taking the first step, even when you don't know where the path will lead. Courage means trusting yourself, even when the world feels uncertain. And when you choose courage, when you choose yourself, you open the door to a life that is so much bigger, so much brighter, so much more fulfilling than the one you're leaving behind. You open the door to a future where you are free to be who you are, to love and be loved in a way that is honest and true, to build a life that reflects the beauty and strength within you. So let me ask you one more time. Are you ready to choose yourself? Are you ready to let go of the pain, the fear, the betrayal? Are you ready to step into the life you deserve? Because that life is waiting for you. And all it takes is one decision, one moment of courage, one step forward. There comes a moment in life when you stand face to face with a truth so undeniable, so clear that you can no longer ignore it. It's the moment when you realize that the person you've been holding on to isn't holding on to you in the same way. It's the moment when you see, perhaps for the first time, that the love you've been giving so freely, so completely, hasn't been met with the same depth, the same respect, the same care. And in that moment, you're faced with a choice. Do you keep fighting for something that's breaking you, or do you choose to save yourself? Choosing yourself doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you didn't try. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you've decided that your peace, your happiness, your well-being are no longer negotiable. It means you've come to the profound understanding that love is not enough, not on its own. Love must be paired with trust, with respect, with integrity, because love without those things isn't love at all. It's longing. It's attachment. It's a shadow of what love is meant to be. And here's the thing. When someone betrays you, when they break your trust, when they make a choice that puts their desires above your dignity, they are showing you who they are in that moment. They are revealing a part of themselves that you cannot afford to ignore. And while people can change, while they can grow, it is not your responsibility to wait for that growth. It is not your responsibility to sacrifice your own happiness on the altar of their potential. Let's talk about potential for a moment. How many times have you stayed in a relationship, not because of what it is, but because of what you hope it could be? How many times have you ignored the warning signs, the red flags, the gut feelings because you were so focused on who they might become? Potential is a dangerous thing. It blinds us to reality. It keeps us tethered to a version of them that only exists in our minds. It convinces us that if we just love them enough, if we just hold on a little longer, they'll finally become the person we've been waiting for. But here's the truth. You cannot build a relationship on potential. You cannot build a future on what-ifs. You cannot sacrifice your present happiness for the hope that someday, somehow, they'll change. A healthy, thriving relationship isn't built on potential. It's built on reality. It's built on mutual respect, mutual trust, mutual love. And if those things aren't present now, no amount of waiting, no amount of hoping, no amount of second chances will create them. But you ask you this. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for them to suddenly see your worth? To suddenly realize the damage they've done, to suddenly become the person you need them to be? Or are you waiting for permission to walk away, permission to let go, permission to choose yourself? If you're waiting for permission, let me give it to you right here, right now. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their validation. You don't need anyone to tell you that it's okay to leave a relationship that no longer serves you. The only permission you need is your own. And when you give yourself that permission, something incredible happens. You begin to see the world in a new light. You begin to see yourself in a new light. You begin to realize that the love you've been searching for, the love you've been waiting for, isn't something you'll find in someone else. It's something you'll find within yourself. The most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Every other relationship in your life is a reflection of how you treat yourself, how you see yourself, how you value yourself. And when you choose to stay with someone who has betrayed you, who has disrespected you, who has devalued you, you are sending yourself a message. You are saying, this is what I deserve. But when you choose to walk away, when you choose to let go, when you choose yourself, you are sending yourself a different message. You are saying, I deserve better. I am worthy of more. I will not settle for less. And that message changes everything. It changes the way you see yourself. It changes the way you see the world. It changes the kind of people you attract into your life. Because when you honor yourself, when you value yourself, when you love yourself, you set a standard. You create a boundary. You say to the world, this is how I deserve to be treated, and I will accept nothing less. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to walk away. It's hard to let go of the memories, the dreams, the hope. It's hard to face the unknown. But do you know what's even harder? Staying in a relationship that's slowly breaking you. Staying in a relationship where you can't trust the person you're with. Staying in a relationship where you have to constantly question your worth. You deserve more than that. You deserve a love that is honest, that is kind, that is unwavering. You deserve a life that is full of joy, of peace, of possibility, and that life is waiting for you. But it requires you to take a leap of faith. It requires you to trust yourself. It requires you to believe with every fiber of your being that you are worthy of more. Let me ask you one final time, Asap, are you ready to choose yourself? Are you ready to let go of the person who has betrayed you? Are you ready to step into the life you deserve? Because the choice is yours. It always has been. And deep down, you already know the answer. You know that staying in a relationship where you have to question their loyalty, their honesty, their commitment is not the life you were meant to live. You know that you are capable of so much more than you've been told. You know that you are worthy of a love that is true and real and unwavering. And when you choose that for yourself, when you take that first step, you will discover a strength within you that you didn't know you had. You will discover a peace that comes from knowing you've honored yourself. You will discover a love that begins with you and radiates out into every part of your life. So take that step. Choose yourself. Let go of what no longer serves you and step into the beautiful, extraordinary life that is waiting for you.